I'll share it. Okay. So today our theme was employment for seniors. Um, so we wanted to just talk as a group of uh, what which serving organizations that either of you folks in the room or folks that you're collaborating with that are helping older adults find jobs right now across the province. Um, and maybe what's working well with that, what we're struggling with, what trends are we seeing, and if there's any success stories that you've seen even across other areas of, if across other parts of Alberta or the province, if some of those success story folks aren't here. Um, so we wanted to do that sharing. So I'll kick us off first before we get too far into it. I'm going to do a land acknowledgement. And yeah, so in the spirit of our journey to promote reconciliation, we'd like to honor the truth of the shared history and acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who have lived in and cared for these lands for generations. We're grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us today and those who have gone before us. And I live and work and play in Mohkinstsis, which is the meeting of the waters, also known as Calgary, um, which is in the Treaty 7 territories in the traditional lands of the Blackfoot Confederacy, including the Siksika, Kainai, and Piikani nations, the Ahe Nakota, including the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Goodstoney nations, and the Tsuut'ina. I'm also in Métis regions 5 and 6. So I'd like to acknowledge all of those traditional knowledge keepers and elders uh, and folks of the area I'm in, and how privileged I am to live and work and in these spaces. And also recognizing that this is an Alberta community practice and acknowledging all the different areas that we're tuning in from across treaties 4, 6, 7, 8, and 10 regions across the province here. So, I did start recording it. That's only for us to have as later. I don't need, depending what we're doing, I'll typically list it in our playlist afterwards. So we have our group, our Immigrant Senior Sector Connections Partners group playlist here. So I'll put it there and I'll share the link with you folks after if somebody mentioned something and you wanted to go back to it. But I'll share that with you folks after. Um, and I'm going to toss some questions in the chat here, and Yao's gonna kick us off, um, leading some of these questions. And we just want to go in a circle today and talk about some of these key things that we're seeing across the province. Oh, and I'd also like to introduce our Immigrant Senior Sector Connection leadership team here. So we have Tatiana Kastner from Jewish Family Services Edmonton. We have Yao Li from Canadian Immigrant Women's Association. If you're familiar with CIWA of Calgary Immigrant Women's Association, they just rebranded to Canadian Immigrant Women's Association here a few months ago. And then Parminder Gill from Immigrant Services Calgary. And we're missing Meenakshi also from Immigrant Services Calgary today. But we have our folks here, and our group meets every quarter. This is the team that's helping organize some of these topics. If any of you feel like you want to join leadership, let us know. But otherwise, we welcome you to come every quarter here or every few months to the events that we're hosting. Anyway, I will pass it to you, Yao.
Yeah, thank you so much, Stephanie. And how's everybody? Good. Okay, so like Stephanie said that today we're going to talk about we're gonna share experiences, right, challenges, and probably share some our practices related to supporting older adults. to find meaningful employment. And really, because for myself, I don't have that much experience, so I really would like to learn from everybody here. Um, but don't feel pressure. Like we can share challenges as well, right? So that's not something really need you to say a lot. But let's begin with introductions, like Stephanie mentioned. So please share your organization's name, the work you do, and how your organization is helping older adults find jobs, if that's relevant. I can actually go ahead, and so you know what we're looking for. So my name is Yao, and I am working as a mental health counselor in CIWA. Thank you so much, Stephanie. That's Calgary Immigrant Women's Association. We just changed our names a few months ago. And my department is called Wellbeing and Resiliency Department. And really, we are kind of helping immigrants and no, women, not only seniors, women from teenage years to senior, to overcome their, family issues, and when they have any kind of like mental needs, right? I'm not saying that they have mental disorders, but it's more like if they are facing their problems, real life challenges. But my job specifically is for immigrant seniors. So I'm the one who care for them, that their mental health, and really help them to overcome their loneliness and their sometimes anxiety and depression when they come to this country, right? New immigrants, knowing no one. I'm gonna probably talk about more about my job later when it's related. I don't want to take much of the time. But one thing that I see is that for my specific group, I see some needs for finding jobs and works for my seniors, but oftentimes the most challenging thing for them is language barrier. So that's what I see. Um, yeah, and besides that, like my main job was to run in groups while we're still Calgary Immigrant Women's Association. But well, since we changed our names and changed our job requirements by our founders, and then I'm moving towards to do individual counselings, and my background is counseling psychology. Okay, I'll just pass it on to probably Parminder, and we can just keep this going on. And nice meeting you all.
Sure. Thank you so much, Yao. Yeah. Hello, everyone. So my name is Parminder Gill. I'm working with Immigrant Services Calgary. So I am a gateway planner there, but specifically with seniors. So what we do, we saw immigrant seniors and we do needs assessment. Based on their needs, we prepare a personalized plan, like to keep in mind their goals, their priorities, and their needs. So we also run, so I have two parts of my job. One is just doing the preparing the gateway plans for everyone, no matter like the age group. But specifically we run a program, community initiatives for immigrant seniors program for 55 and older immigrant seniors. So I am also working in that program where we run different classes, different community events, and we have collaborations with, for example, we are working currently with Mount Royal University for the creative writing project, and we have another collaboration with Trellis on computer classes. So and when we do needs assessment, as Yao mentioned, and I'm 100% agree, that most of the seniors, when we call senior, we know that in Canada, 65 and older consider a senior, right? But the most challenging thing is for 55 to 65 or 70, because those people, when they are here, they are immigrant, they are parents, they are dependent upon their, adult children, but they have language barrier. It's totally different for environment for them. They don't have, like, sometime, of course, like 30%, yes, they have language, they have good education from back home, so chances are they're doing some courses, skilled basis program, and then they can get a job. But mostly, especially if they have language barrier, it's a really big challenge even for us when we prepare a plan to provide the referrals for the communities. We like sometimes struggle. Where should we send to these seniors where they can get direct help from? So that's the main challenging pinpoint, like I can say. And we really want, like, from everyone, like we can prepare, prepare something, some documents or some resources. Like, if anyone knows, I would highly, I mean, I would love to learn about more resources for seniors for employment. Thank you so much. And I can ask Tatiana.
Thank you, Parminder. Um, my name is Tatiana, Program Manager for Older Adult Services at the Jewish Family Services. Despite the name Jewish, we provide services to the broader community through multiple projects like social prescribing, Hello Seniors, Holocaust Survivor Support Program, and we provide services to individuals who are 55 plus within the older adult services program, case management, home support services. We have our own social enterprise providing home support services. We connect also to other resources within the organization, counseling program, which is offered on a sliding scale. Sometimes we work collaboratively with our outreach team that is for younger clients who are under 55. I have my two colleagues with me today, Keishal and Nika. They will be introducing themselves later. Just briefly to share a couple of thoughts regarding my experience with seniors and employment. Two things. We have immigrant seniors who are not looking for employment. However, I think it's important to mention that they have extremely strong work-related identities, regardless this, and that creates a very painful grieving process for many of them, whether they came to Canada like 50 years ago, for example, Holocaust survivors, they have lived here for 40 years or so. They had to give up successful careers in their countries where they came from and had to work on a very basic jobs right now. And right now they're in their late 80s or 90s. So they are not looking for a job, but they still go through significant grief and loss process combined with pride about their former work-related successes. So it's just, again, like something that I think we have to keep in mind, that immigration very often relates in loss of that work identity, which is very hard to restore. And then the other thing, most of our clients, whether they're immigrants or not, through the programs the two projects that we work with general public, social prescribing and Hello Seniors, they are usually in such a health conditions that they are not capable of working. So the number of seniors that we see who are actually interested in finding a job is very limited. But Parminder is right. It's that the age group between 55 and 65. And we have seen spike in immigration from Ukraine and Israel due to geopolitical situation that is happening in the last few years. And this is the group of older adults that is very vulnerable. I would say a success story that I've personally seen, it was when we were able to help an older adult to start their own business. So it's that was like an alternative way to to connect them with employment. Otherwise, it's extremely hard. So I won't take much of your time. When I have a chance to talk more, I'll talk more, but I'll just let everyone else to introduce themselves. So I'll pass it on to Keishel.
Thank you, Tatiana. So my name is Keishal. I'm an outreach support worker at Jewish Family Services. I do short-term case management. Uh, I support older adults by helping them navigate resources, connect with community supports, and address their, let's say, immediate practical needs. So when it comes to employment options for immigrant seniors, um, I want to be, I wanted to be honest. For almost a year working at Jewish Family, most of my clients typically are retired or receiving benefits such as age. So I don't specialize in those. I don't have any like knowledge about employment placement for older adults. However, I'm always happy to explore available community resources. If ever I got to encounter a senior client who's wanted to still be employed, immigrant or not, and support them in understanding what options may exist. Thank you. I'll pass it on to Nika.
Thank you, Keishel. Hello, everyone. My name is Nika. I work with Keishel and Tatiana, Jewish Family Services Edmonton. I'm actually an outreach caseworker with people who are under the age of 55. In my previous role, I worked as an employment specialist in a settlement organization supporting immigrants and refugees with everything that's related to their job search. So Canadian-style resumes, interview preparation, understanding the Canadian workplace culture. And I'm currently a student with University of Calgary to become a certified career advisor. We do see a bit of a trend in JFS that we do receive clients who fall in the category of 55 and over and are looking for employment. And I'm trying to increase my knowledge when it comes to that population, so we'll be better able to support them and help them within the organization. So I'm looking forward to learn from you and maybe share my experience, even though it's coming from the younger population. But I think some of the things might be relevant to both. So I'm looking forward to it. I guess I'll pass it to Nancy.
Thanks, Nika. Hello, everyone. I'm Nancy Wang, the Hello Senior Program Manager in Edmonton. Hello Senior is funded by FCSS and delivered through a collaboration of top nonprofit organizations. Jewish Family Services is one of them. So together, through all those partnership collaboration, we support older adults and connect them to community resources as they need, based on, of course, their goals and available community resources. Because we work with many equity deserving seniors, including newcomers and immigrants, indigenous population, or those who are on lower socioeconomic status. Some seniors we work with may want to look for employment opportunities because of financial difficulties and increased cost of living. So then right now we have a practicum students working with us on the employment project. So she focused on looking for employment opportunities for Edmonton seniors, as well as understanding the challenges seniors facing in the local context. I'm also learning what I heard so far through her project. So as you mentioned, language barriers or, lack of, credential recognition in Canada, or some other things we gather is such as, I think you might be familiar with all those things. For instance, lack of a familiarity with the Canadian job market, or digital literacy challenges and when they access employment opportunities. Sometimes could be transportation and weather issues because seniors don't often drive, especially from different cultures, right? And so some of our seniors in the community fulfill some family expectations, such as like child care or household chores, and they are not able to find job, but they need a financial, they need some income to support their family or themselves. Tatiana mentioned physical limitation because of a health conditions. That's another one we learn. So the last one we learned so far is cultural distance. Because they're unfamiliar with the Canadian job market and also the cultures in the workplace may put them like in an awkward position when they actually found a job or something, right? So that's another thing we discovered. Yeah, so as I said, we are also learning. That's why I'm here. She cannot make this meeting today. So I'm hoping I can learn from all of you as well. I will pass it over to Eugenia. Thanks, everyone.
Hello, everyone. I'm Eugenia. I work at Women in Need Society in Calgary. I am a program facilitator, and I run a program for senior ladies, let's say about 60 plus. It's called the Golden Club. I started it almost 2 years ago. In March, I will be completing 2 years. This is a brand new experience for me. I consider it has been successful. At first, I used to have, I run it every week, 2 hours to 3 hours in length. And at first, I used to have clients, ladies from honestly all over the world, from Iran, from China, from Latin America, from Middle East. However, because I am a Spanish speaking originally, my population tends to be from Latin America. Although Women in Need Society has a very successful program for employment called Retail Ready, usually they are not taking clients who are senior ladies. And I have a lot of my clients who are facing this challenge. Lots of them currently live with their kids, and they face the difficulties because mingling with an extended family, of course, is not always very easy. Lots of them have a very particular talents. I have ladies who have worked previously in their places of origin in the health field. I have nutritionists. I have ladies who are very talented in making crafts, sewing, and all these sort of things. I try to empower them, and I allow them to now and then facilitate some workshops for the rest of the group, which has been also very successful because in a way they feel, as I mentioned, empowered and very, well, very happy. But at the same time, I realize that the financial stress for them is high because lots of them would like to move out and live in their own place, and they don't have the money to do it. They don't receive, or if they receive income from Alberta supports, is very, very limited. So this is why I'm here. I shared with some of them yesterday that I would attend this webinar, and they were really very interested because they are really needing in getting in some kind of job that can provide them some finances. So thank you very much. So I can pass to fireflies.
I think that's everyone. Sandy's from Lethbridge. He's a Lethbridge trustee, but he isn't able to make it, so his AI Fireflies is here taking notes, but unfortunately we don't have him to weigh in on anything. So,
Yeah. So
uh,
I think we still have Nika, or have you introduced yourself? Yes, already? So that's all, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, creepy, like there's an AI taking notes of what we're talking about. Yeah, anyway, thank you so much, everybody. And I think several of us have actually mentioned and talk about something on our talk about something that's related to our second and third question already. So I just would like to do it in a more flexible way. So is there anyone? Thank you so much. I think I get a lot of insights from you, and probably we can just jump into consider or to share that what is working well and what are you struggling with for or that there are some pain points. I think some of us have already mentioned that, and that's really I personally feel valid from your experience. So I don't think this should be a go around the room, right? Everybody talk again, but it's more like if you have anything to add on, please go ahead. I actually have something to share with to you, is that I think there's one thing that's really painful for us, right? Is that in our so our founder mostly like I get our funds mostly from IRCC. So they really only found us to serve those new immigrants, like very specifically refugees and permanent residents, that like the parents, right? Got sponsored by their adult children. So there's a lot of citizens sometimes, and some work permit holders. They are kind of like coming to us and to see, oh, can I get the employment, service from you? And unfortunately, of course, we cannot provide jobs to them, immediately. So in CY, it's more like we are kind of like providing them some training or kind of guidance, right? What kind of job that are applied to you based on your skills and your past experiences. But unfortunately, even for some clients coming to do some consultation and or get the resources, sometimes we cannot serve them because they're not qualified, right? So this is really sad. So I think we in our an internal survey, right, and people are kind of discussing that. Oh, can we just extend our service to those seniors that who are really in needs right now, not only to consider their immigration status, because some of them may really struggle, but they don't have a permanent resident like immigration category right now. So that's something that we've been experiencing, and we talked about that I think a few months ago, right? Recently. So, but still, we don't have a solution, unfortunately. Yeah, so that's something that I would like to add. So I'll just leave it to you to see if there is anything that you find struggling, some pain points here. I think I have heard a lot of good things, good stuff, right? Either it's more like the low literacy or like the transportation, the weather sometimes, right? And ageism, right? We see that we can ignore that, like people and to for me specifically, like I work with women, immigrants, women, and sometimes gender, right? Not only age but gender. Women are more, I think, vulnerable, or like it's less likely for them to find some work. Okay, I'll just leave it to the group to see if you have any comments and anything to add.
Actually, a comment about women's employment. Yes, they may be more vulnerable but in some areas they have more chances to find a job because just based on, like, for example, GFS connection to the home care services, and we have our own social enterprise with 70 caregivers. We employ women, mostly women and mostly immigrant women as caregivers, private caregivers, paid caregivers. And many of them actually are 55 plus. Well, I wouldn't say many, but some of them are 55 plus. Um, yes, there is a language barrier, but caregiving is a universal language in a way, right? So this is where we see, as long as the person either has a relevant experience from their countries of origin, like sometimes people come with medical backgrounds or human service background, or just a life experience of taking care of someone, which again, like most of the women do have this kind of experience because we are natural caretakers. So those people, those women have more chances to get a job because there is a huge demand in paid caregivers. So we are able to connect at least some of those women, even with limited language abilities, but we still connect them to the clients for whom language is not necessarily the main requirement for their workers to have. Although I have to be honest, many our home care private clients, they do complain about lack of language among the caregivers, and that's heartbreaking to hear because it's again like the job options are limited, and here even your client is complaining about your ability to speak English when your job is about cleaning your bathroom, you know. So it's kind of like, but even those simple jobs, many clients do complain. Yet we do still have some success stories, specifically for women, specifically for immigrant women, with either background or experience in taking care of older people, and this is how we help them to get employment. So it's just one of the kind of sort of it's a combination of a success story, but also challenges.
Yeah, it is. It is so encouraging. Just out of curiosity, so who's gonna pay for the ladies, like for the seniors?
So yeah, like we have a combined model. Our clients, some of the clients get subsidized services. For example, Holocaust survivors, they have their own grant for home care services. So the salaries of the caregivers will be paid through this grant, but it's a very small and a very unique population. Clients that we receive through social prescribing and Hello Seniors projects, they have subsidized short-term subsidized home support services that is paid by two other grants that they receive. We can also connect the clients to special needs assistance, housekeeping grant, and we are also a provider, official provider for the invoicing program through Alberta Health Services, which also gives cash to the seniors to be able to hire a private agency. So those are like subsidized options to pay for the caregivers' salaries. But we also have clients who are not eligible to any of this, and they pay from their own pocket. So they pay the GFS, and then we pay the caregivers because they are our official employees. So it's a multiple
Yeah,
sources,
right.
yeah, which makes it quite a complex program.
Mhm. Yes, thank you so much, Tatiana, for sharing. It's encouraging, right? So I think something that we learn from your program is that at least we can consider, right, as staff for organizations, maybe we can consider, kind of like get more funding from everywhere, right? And even the clients. I'm not sure it's not allowed in SIWA, but maybe probably for some of the agencies that can be helpful if they can get more funds. Okay, so anyone else would like to share what are some pain points? I think there's a lot, right?
Yeah, I can share something. Based on one of our partner agencies' learning, they shared a lot of clients came to Canada as a refugee or refugee claimant. They experience trauma, war, displacement. Because of that mental health conditions, they may not like find employment right away. Even though they are on lower social economic status, they are looking for housing. They need food on table. That's another thing we have seen in our program. For the resources, with the things going well, we have a lot of programming activities in our partner agency as well, not only outreach. So Hello Senior is more about outreach and social work support, but we also have some programming activities for seniors and something like digital literacy support or basic English conversation classes or senior volunteering programs. Yeah, all those are working very well. In our employment project, we just didn't finalize it. Once we finalize, we can share with our partners. If you're interested, we can share the report with you as well, but it's more local context. So we discovered the common jobs senior are doing, such as you mentioned childcare support, Uber driving. That's another one. Retail work and kitchen help, supporting senior homes or community support worker roles. Yeah, so something like that. And housekeeping for sure, Tatiana mentioned that. Yeah, it's very interesting to learn about those opportunities as well. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nancy, for sharing. Right, so we're talking about trends actually, right? We talk about the reason that they're seeking employment should like most likely that due to financial pressure, right? And we see that the most jobs that we see that the seniors are looking for, like Nancy just mentioned, and we are also Tatiana, when you're talking about your group, like finding the caregiver, so they're doing part-time, right? So they don't
It depends. Yeah, we have full-time employees, and we have casual, we have part-time. It's a all spectrum depending on what they want to and what we are able to provide in terms of clients.
Okay, yes, thank you. So I'm trying to figure out, could that be a trend? Because for SIWA, unfortunately, we don't hire. I don't think that we're hiring immigrant seniors like 60 plus. I don't personally think so, but we do have a wonderful volunteering program, and sometimes we encourage, there's no age limitation. We encourage them to become SIWA's volunteer. And just like you have mentioned, that many of them are really talented. They are very talented in doing crafting and doing, all kinds of like knitting, those kind of things. And sometimes in an intergem program, like we will invite those seniors to come to SIWA and teach the teenagers to do some, handmade work, DIY work. Those things are very amazing, but unfortunately, we don't have funding for our volunteers. But at the end of the day, sometimes if we get donations from our partnership, like the thing, and we give them bread, and sometimes if it's the end of the year, we may give them some gift card. I think that's something. It's not a salary, it's not a job, right? It's more like appreciation, unfortunately. And I recently personally met a very talented Chinese lady. She's teaching Zen Tango. I'm not sure how many of you have heard of that. Zen Tango. It's kind of like an art therapy, and to make the patterns and drawings, and really to help seniors and everybody, I think, to calm down and to drag their attention to here and now. That's really helpful when it comes to mental health. And she recently became. She's a newcomer, and recently she became a volunteer of SIWA, but still it's not a job, right? It's not a job, and she came part-time. But I think ultimately it will help her to build up her experiences here, working in Canada, and hopefully that will help her to find a formal job later. But for us, there's really not much to do. We can't offer them job, right? So that's really sad. Yes, so I think we still have 15 minutes, right, Stephanie? So I think we are going to talk about probably our last question, right? So do we see any successful stories from other parts of the province or country? So if you have any inspiring and successful stories, please, we'll appreciate your sharing. Yeah, so for me, really, it's just that help them probably to, and it's really sad to see that even some of them hold master degree or even doctor PhD, right, back in their country, but in here they can't do because they don't have proper license or credentials, right? So they can't do the stuff that they used to do. So for CY is what I see is that they're welcome to volunteer, but still that's not a job. Okay, I'll just yeah, anyone would like to share? Probably can go ahead.
Nika, maybe? Oh, Eugenia, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Well, I just would like to share about it's not exactly a paid position, but as I mentioned before, I encourage the senior ladies to showcase their talents, and now and then I allow them to facilitate the workshops inside the program. But I consider a successful story a senior lady who is very talented in sewing, to the point that we open a sewing club. And she's volunteering, teaching the classes, and so this is something that I consider, although it's not a paid job, it's she's doing it quite well. And just coming back to the previous question, I think sorry about I didn't mention it before. Two pain points that I would like to mention are well, something that you already mentioned, the language barriers and also health issues, because some of them would be very or are very willing to work, but the health situation that they bring when they immigrated to Canada is preventing them, some of them, to look for a job. The health issues that they have, sometimes they are not well addressed, or they need to wait long time uh, to heal here in Canada, to be assisted by an specialist or something. So I think, and also the language barrier, I found that many of them, although they attend English classes, I think it's a matter of their own age, or a cultural prejudice or something that prevents them to fully engage and there to find the job. So this is what I wanted to mention.
I think I was wondering if, Nika, since you lived in other parts of Canada, maybe you have experience from more successful experience than Alberta has in terms of employment for all the adults.
Yeah, I do have some stories that come in mind. So I think it might have been a little different just because I used to live on Prince Edward Island, which is a very small province, almost like just one big community where everyone knows everyone. And when we started seeing people coming from Ukraine, everyone wanted to be involved and help in any way that they could. So I do have I had a couple who was close to their 60s probably at that time. It was a few years ago. Um, a husband and wife, they came from Ukraine. They did not speak a word in English, and they were looking for a place to live. So it was a collaborative work within the settlement organization. So one person was helping them with housing. I was helping them to create a resume because, again, they didn't speak a word in English. They didn't have the resume. All of their work experience was in agriculture and farming. Um, and I think at some point, because of the collaboration within the organization and the team, the person who was responsible for housing reached out to me and asked how am I helping them with employment. And we started talking, and at some point it was like, oh, actually, you know what? Somebody reached out with a place somewhere in the east, and they're looking for somebody to live in their house and help them with the little farm, the farm that they have. I'm like, oh, this is amazing because my clients don't care where they're going to live as long as they have a place to live. So we ended up connecting them to that family, and because of their experience working in the farm and raising animals, it was just a perfect fit for both of them. But again, it was a lot of collaborative work.
For sure. It's kind of like inspiring actually to me. So since the seniors have some language barrier, why not if we can get fundings, right, for that community, then they can help each other. They don't need to speak English. That would be amazing, right? So I think that's something that maybe it's not our decision though at the end of the day, but I think that's a very good thinking. Like if we can put them into their community where they can speak their first language or the language that they are comfortable with, and still they can kind of like share their experiences and expertise to help their own community, and that would be also awesome, right? Anybody else would like to talk anything?
Sort of to build on what Nika was saying about the partnership and collaborations, from whatever my very limited experience with employment services, I think also one of the success factors was when you have relationships with an employer
That's
that
true.
you can really refer that client to, so that it's not just employment agency or just HR, or please send your resume to Indeed website. But when you have the direct connection with an
Yes.
employer who is willing to accommodate, whether it's a language barrier, whether it's age, whether it's some sort of disability. So I would be really curious how we can build those partnerships and the community, and if anyone have suggestions of where to find those unicorn employers who will be open to hire older immigrants or other vulnerable populations, that would be really great.
Mhm. Yeah, interestingly enough, that's one thing that I heard. I'm not sure if you know this word is called Nepotism, right? People are actually complaining about that. Oh, they're bringing their own people to take up the job. Right, but it will be nice to see if we have those kind of resources. If you have any, just please let us know.
This is equality versus equity. No, it's not nepotism, but it's just where,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tatiana. And I think Stephanie has put something in the chat box. I'm also curious of how you see the new minimum living wage estimates reflecting with your older adults, and how the cost of living versus employment income money is impacting their lives. What do you see emerging from this? Edmonton, Lethbridge, $22.3 right now, and Calgary is more like
Yeah.
5-ish.
Essentially because we get the minimum wage living wages every year, but some of them have really gone up
Oh,
in some of our big city centers, of course.
mhm.
Um, Calgary, Edmonton, and Airdrie have really jumped up. So how do you see that working together with the employment income that your older adults are actually getting? And are there some emerging trends coming from that disparity, right?
Well, I think with like the aging brings that reality of facing lower income in one way or another, whether it's due to health issues that the clients lose their jobs, our clients lose their jobs and they become dependent on income support, like AISH, for example, or if they retire at the age of 65 and they again like receive pensions that are very often lower than their previous income. So this is the reality. Um, or if they lose high paid job and again like very very hard for older adults to find the same level job if they are in their 50s 60s 70s, so they have to go to accept the jobs that are less paid, right? So this is again like it sort of brings me to the whatever I mentioned at the beginning, kind of that grief and loss. It's also, and again, it's not only about losing your work identity as an immigrant, but again, like when we age and we face different life transitions, life changes, that affect our income status, many of us are not prepared to face this changes and that change in income. Right, from one day we were receiving $50,000 a year, then the next year we can barely make 25. So there is no. This is where like we see a lot of tragedies. Happening. It's a lot of emotional pain. And definitely the fact that the living wage is now in Edmonton 22.30. Gosh, and Airdrie is 29. God,
Yeah.
it's like insane. Yeah. So again, like most of the clients that we see that they've living in the stage where they no longer have that income that they used to have. So that's a tragedy right there.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tatiana. I totally agree with you. And as a mental health, practitioner, right? I really agree that the gap between realistic living costs and that many seniors actually it's deeply concerning, right? Consider that not only seniors, but immigrant seniors, they're more vulnerable. And this is likely even more precarious, right? They have less savings and they don't have kind of like a social network or some foundation here in Canada, right? So they probably will have higher housing or health costs here. So this is really something that will put them in to be more vulnerable to when it comes to mental health, right? Not only the reality, but so they may be more stressful. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. We have 2 more minutes, right, Stephanie?
Yeah, we're pretty much at our time here.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have any last things they want to say before we wrap up for the day?
I just posted a few websites also in the chat
Yeah.
that I think might be helpful if you want to explore. And I have a request for Nancy. Nancy, can you email me the list of the work areas, the employment areas that you mentioned that the seniors tend to be hired into? Maybe those are the areas maybe we can start developing more actively the partnerships with.
Yeah, that's just one part.
Mhm.
We will pull out a report, Tatiana, and share very soon before the term ends for Ayan. She's a practicum student with us. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming today. I really enjoyed hearing everybody's stories and what's going on and how everybody's tackling it differently, but also what trends we're seeing. Um, I will put this file in a shared space plus some of those links that Tatiana shared with us so that we have them together in one spot. And then if anybody wants to reflect on them again, they have them. But we do invite you to also come to our next one on February 19th. I'll email you the information so you have the exact registration link. But we're going to, it's February 19th from 1 to 2. And we thought we'd go deeper into now that it's like a year of, over a year after we've gotten this slew of Ukrainian refugees coming through, what folks are seeing and what's been happening, and maybe what you've been working on for that, or what additional trends have been happening there. So we thought we'd keep it a Ukrainian refugee focus for February. Also, I put in the chat here, we have our survey. So if there's any topics that you're ever interested in, you could always let us know your feedback on this session, and then if there's additional topics you want to have the group Hive Mind here discuss, please put them in and we could build them into future sessions as well if there's something that you're really hoping to get the community practice perspective on or something you're struggling with. But yeah, with that, thank you so much, everyone, today, and we hope to see your faces again. We hope this is helpful.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.